You guys, welcome back to another episode of Kind of Hot, Kind of Healthy. We are, as Maddie just said, ripping a band-aid off today. And I don't know, maybe okay, so when people are like doing things on social media, I don't know if you like feel the same way. I think we've probably talked about this, but like you can tell when like things are going on if people don't talk about it. Like I always clock the tea. So some of you, I don't know, you might be surprised. I don't know. I also like don't want to speak for you, but yeah, so we're gonna get into a juicy topic, I fear. Is that what you would call it, or what would you call it?
Yeah, juicy because like I love hearing other people's business where I'm just like, ooh, ah,
Yeah. Well, that's why we love reality TV.
This is true because I love to live vicariously through other people's drama and like then go home and be like, I have no drama.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
wasn't the case for
100%.
me though. I was the drama. But this episode is very much a girls girl episode. Will there be much health and fitness? Probably, because I've actually talked to two of my clients about this. I haven't even told my clients because I always fear. I don't know if anyone has been in therapy. Hopefully, you should have. But if you ever experience a therapist where they're like dumping on you, um, I think
No.
no. You, I swear you told me you had that once.
No, I felt like I felt I could not express body image concerns because the
Yes,
therapist I had at the time was living in a larger body, and it felt it didn't feel safe.
I recall that story.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. So anyhow, I don't know where I was going. Oh, so I do my best to not dump on my clients.
Trauma dumping on my clients.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
keep it's their journey. It's their
Yes.
this is I'm there for them. I dump on other people. My
Yeah.
coach, my somatic coach, like all, I try my best to see okay, what needs dumped, what doesn't. And me and Allie are very much of like talk through things.
Mm.
So I have been dumping a lot on her, and sometimes I just need to dump it and let it go. Like dump and flush. That's
Not what I was gonna go for, but yeah, perfect. Great.
Yes. So I don't even know like quite literally where to start this. Like where I don't know,
I
Allie,
think
where would
just say it and then we can backtrack.
okay, so me, myself, and I are like 75% of the way through a divorce. Um, my soon to be ex-husband and I've like been trying to figure out how to talk about this because I very much respect his privacy and I don't think I will ever be the type of person maybe I was in the beginning of this. I probably was a couple years ago, but like I have just done so much internal work that like I really think like it takes two to tango. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, he was a terrible person. He did this. No, I think it was both like an unfit match at the end of the day. And again, like I very much respect his privacy at some point. Like he didn't sign up to be like a quote unquote, someone called me recently an influencer. And I was like, bleh, because I'm a coach first. But he didn't sign up to be on social media. And I stopped putting him on social media a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so I just, to me, putting anything out there about him, with defaming him, or you know what I mean, like anything mean or whatever. Like this is not like let's go sick 'em type thing. This is like I am very much part of the play of why things happened, and and I'm not going to go into like here's the timeline of
Yeah, yeah,
every
yeah.
like we're
Yeah.
not going to do that, but yeah. So that has been happening, and we're on the road to like papers getting signed and all that, like done and dusted, and and I was talking to Allie, like, I've been thinking about this a lot, and my life is moving on. Like, this is probably no, not the first time. This is like maybe the first dozen of times that I can talk about it. And I'm not crying anymore. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
like feeling the hurt and through all of that. And my life is moving on. And Allie and I talk about our life, and it's getting harder and harder for me to be authentic in my emails, in the inner circle emails, in my content, in talking to clients. I just told 2 clients this past week. Just
Yep.
told them. I didn't even tell all my clients yet because again, it's not about me, it's about them. And so we were talking before this and I'm like, I just feel I'm being inauthentic and I want to talk about like what's going on in my life and the changes that are happening and like I've alluded to this something happening many times. Like I've moved, I've said that in my email list. It's how one of my clients kind of like was like, hey, what's going on? But I've moved houses. I've done like a lot of different things happening. My health has been up and down. Now I'm leaner and through all of that. And so I really want to talk about, and we'll talk about other times, like other things that I've learned from this experience. But I couldn't keep going on, not living a lie, but like shielding this part of my life from our listeners, from anyone, because I think there are so many things that I've learned about myself and grew from and learned about my health and all these things that I couldn't keep not talking about that and acting like that wasn't a thing in my life.
Right. And we talked about this in literally last week's episode where you should talk about things when they're scars and not scabs. And then you brought it up like, well, when can I talk about this? And it's like, it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. It matters what feels good to you. And you can always share as much or as little what feels authentic to you, but there are a lot of times where you are censoring yourself and kind of holding back
Hmm.
because you didn't want to talk about it, and that's completely your decision, and like just like nothing wrong with that. It's just an observation. And you've done a lot of really I w- intense work to get to the place where you're sitting right now, where you are imagining this life for yourself. And I think there's something really powerful in like vulnerability, because that's like what this podcast is here for. Like, we're not like just like, sometimes we're fluffy and happy and like things are great, but we also share a lot of the harder stuff, because like that is authentic and that plays into your
Hmm.
health, and that is who we are as people sometimes. um but I think you saying like, okay, I'm going to talk about it, is like, well, that your body felt like, okay, this is the right time. Like, you're not forcing the issue, you're feeling empowered, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely feel empowered. And, I think with divorce, there's like, I don't know. I think in girl world, I just heard.
That was like Mean Girls in Girl World.
Yes, yes. That's exact. I heard her voice in my
In
head.
Girl World. Halloween is the one night of the year you can dress like a slut and nobody says a thing.
That being said, I am 100% being Shigo this year. I will go to a Halloween party, even though I don't go to parties. We'll make it happen. Anyway,
Yes.
um, I think with a lot of women, I don't know. I've always gotten this like bashing thing when it comes to divorce, like fuck
Yeah.
him, like bleh, and like I think I felt that way for like a hot 2 seconds because I was just hurt. I
Yes. Yeah.
literally was hurt, and I've gotten to this point, like, I don't know, like, you guys know, it's been a minute since we talked about Kabbalah, but like a lot of the Kabbalistic principles are that things are in your life for a reason. Like, people were in your life. You marry someone for a reason. I truly believed that I married him for a reason because that is what I needed at the time, but it became one of my greatest teachers, I think.
Yeah.
And it took a lot. When I tell you it took me a lot to get to this point, like it has taken me a fuck ton to get here. And see just how much of wow, I was a mentally prepubescent in so many ways that I thought when I met him. And that is not me anymore. And that is very normal. And
Hmm.
And I think back to what I was saying about like bashing and bashing, like I don't think there's any reason to bash. Like people change, people grow, people want different things, they learn different things. And like I truly think this was like my greatest teacher in my life and pushed me to find the growth that I needed to find. And like I don't know, we talked about this on here. We talked about texting. Like my reactivity has been an issue my entire life, like
Hmm.
being reactive. And for better or worse, love my parents. They did the best they could, I will always say. But like I grew up in a reactive household. And that's a very hard pattern to break.
Yeah.
And I know I was a reactive bitch in that marriage, very reactive. And he put up with a lot. And I think that's obviously great that he was able to like put up with that, but it wasn't forcing me to grow. And I look back at it now and I'm like, wow, like, and my reactivity has gotten a lot better. It's something I always
Yeah.
wanted to work on, but I never felt pushed to work on. It was like, yeah, yeah, I know. That's what it was.
And it's like sometimes a part of you doesn't feel, and I'm not saying this is you, but doesn't feel safe to work on it because I was also always very reactionary. And of course, you still slip into those habits.
Mhm,
But for a while, I didn't feel like it was okay to say out loud, I am reactionary. I don't like this. I am sorry,
mhm,
because that lets down a wall and it
mhm,
lets people in and it lets them know like this is a very defensive part that comes up. Um,
mhm,
and it never comes out of, it comes from like being hurt, it comes from being wounded. And so, even just that personal journey of being less reactive, it shows you that like you needed this space to allow yourself to get out of that because when we're in a lot of comfortable positions, we don't grow. Like
mhm,
when things seem comfortable, when we're not challenged, nothing changes. Nothing changes.
mhm,
And that's like some people are okay with that. Great.
mhm,
We are not people that are okay with that. And that doesn't make us better or doesn't make other people worse or whatever. It's just it's the way that you want to live your life and you were not okay with that. And like you have done a lot of work and my God, if people could see our text, like delete. If I die, James knows my passcode. Delete it all. Because we have just like we talk about the most vulnerable shit. And it's like always funny because like Maddie's coming to my house in literally like a couple of weeks, which is crazy. But you would think that we've known each other for like a
mhm.
lifetime because we've been able to go through this process together.
I know. I always like texted you this and Marcy Nevin, which we're gonna have her on soon.
Yeah.
Um, I talked to her a lot. I mean, like, if it wasn't for you took the brunt. You took the brunt. Like, I don't know how you have dealt with me like through all of this, but that's why it's important to have
Yeah.
girlfriends because marriages end.
Absolutely.
Marriages end, y'all. They do. I'm sorry, but they do. And not to put any doom and gloom on yours, but they can end, right? They're not always
For
forever.
for sure. For sure. And I think divorce is really stigmatized because of
Mhm.
course some situations are really bad, but other times it's like it can be amiable and it can just be we no longer fit for each other. And like why is that a bad thing? It's sad, but why does it
Mhm.
have to be a bad thing? Because
Mhm.
wouldn't you rather, and this is me speaking from somebody that like my parents are together, right? Like I don't have a history of divorce. So like I might
Mine
be
too.
sounding naive, I have no idea, but so I'll disclaim that. But I would want my partner to be happy. And if I'm not
Mhm.
happy, they're probably not happy.
Mhm.
Right?
I agree with
I don't
that.
know. I mean, again, I could be totally naive because I don't have the experience. So I'm disclaimer.
I think it's also just like the higher level of consciousness, like so many people just like don't even know they're truly unhappy. Like what's
Yeah. Or they're just like, this is it. Like I'm good
yeah.
here.
I'm
I'm good
good
here.
And this isn't like saying he was, but like
No.
anyone could be like, I'm good being miserable in this job I hate, in this life I really don't like,
Yep.
like, and I'll just like name it, like, and this is again, that's like I don't mind sharing these details, some of these details, not all of them, of course, because they're, private.
Yep.
But we wanted different things at the end. I didn't want to stay in Pittsburgh. I just never found myself staying there. And then when we met, it kind of just like fell. I'm like, I kind of just like got into that life, and then it just went like, okay, next step is this, and we were together, like I was with him for a very long time, so it just got comfortable, and that's what we got used to. I wanted to leave Pittsburgh. He did not, which again, you're allowed to want those things.
Yeah.
And he wanted kids at the end of the day, and that had changed. And again, these are totally fine. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think these things make him a bad person at all, because you guys know, like, everyone knows I've never wanted kids,
Yeah.
have said that from day one. But again, like I was fine with staying in Pittsburgh, and then that changed for me, and that decision changed for him with kids, and that's fine. Like, it's
Yeah.
totally fine. Did it hurt? Of course that hurt. That was very, very painful to go through, but it made me realize, because there were times where I'm like, could I do that? Like, could I? And I was just like, this would not be me. I
Right.
have no inkling in my body where I want to birth a child, and to be honest, like, I couldn't even get pregnant right now. Like, my hormones are not, and it's kinda crazy because, like, I'm very healthy, like, for the most part, but, like,
Yeah. That's
I
another thing about just like health. Like you
Mhm.
can't look at somebody and judge,
Yes.
oh, I want to be like so and so, right? Because again, like this level of keeping certain things private, right? Because we have to
Mhm,
protect ourselves first. Like, I'm not going to talk, you might not talk about all these traumatic things because you got to heal
mhm,
first. But someone could be like, oh, look at her. She has this great body and this and this and that. And then you don't
mhm,
know anything that is happening. So that's like the thing with
mhm.
social media and the thing with judging people. Like, do
Yeah,
not judge somebody based on how they look, or do not admire somebody based on how they look,
yeah.
because you don't know. I mean, you've been working on your health like crazy.
Yes, and I just keep going deeper.
You,
Just literally.
honestly, and as just, your friend watching you, you have poured so much into yourself through this process. And I think that is such a healing part of it as well, because
Mhm,
you didn't pause. I don't want to say give up, because that you could have paused on your health
mhm,
journey and that would be totally understandable. But you really showed up for yourself in a way that I think it was probably a really powerful thing. You're like, I am still doing this. I am doing this for me.
mhm.
I'm showing up for me. Um, and that I think is just something that's going to be just so valuable. Like later, as you like continue to grow as a person later on in your life, you're like, I've been through hard shit and I still poured into
Mhm.
my motherfucking cup because I know how important that is.
Yeah, and there's so many avenues to go with this, but I'll talk about the 2 clients that I talked to, and
Yeah.
I told the one, because I've known her for years and years. We're like friends at this point.
Spill your guts too.
Yes, and, I used to train her in person, and then I was like, "Let's go virtual now. We won't, you don't need to do it in person forever." So I used to
Mhm.
train her at her house, and, she's been going through a little rough patch, and I told her, like, I just wanna, what is the word? Um
Validate
No, no,
or
no, show you, like,
oh,
just
oh, oh.
like, this has been going on in my life, and I know it's not apples to oranges, right? From what's going on to hers is different, everyone's heart is different.
Yes.
But I just wanna show you it's possible to get through where you are at right now. It's possible, and she,
Mhm.
was very taken aback, like, I had no idea, like, I was just saying to my daughter, like, how amazing you looked, and your outfits and your hair. Again, back to people have
Yeah.
no idea, you
Yeah.
know? And she
Yeah.
goes, "I wouldn't even have guessed." And I'm like, "I know, because, I had to keep showing up. I had to keep
Yeah.
running a bit. I had to keep doing all of these things."
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think this experience has just taught me, and we've alluded to this numerous times, like, I was doing many other hobbies and things. I had to back the fuck off all of that and just Literally, my list on my phone to this day, let me look at it real quick. It says heal,
Mm,
take care of your clients,
mm-hmm,
show up on social media. That is my
mm-hmm,
list that I was
mm-hmm,
doing every single day. Heal, take care of your clients, show up on social media. That was it. That's all I was focused on. So Spanish out the door. So what else? Shooting guns, having other hobbies out the door. I just had to
yep,
focus on those things because
yep,
everything felt like it was on fire. And the other client that I was talking to had read an email I talked about moving out, and she was like, "Hey, is this why like I've seen you in a different gym, like a different gym than my
yeah,
previous gym?" And I was like, "Yeah, that is." And she was like, "I am just so sorry that you're going through this. I cannot imagine how hard it is to show up and be positive for your clients." And I'm like, "Yes." It was fucking hard, very hard. Like, there were so many times throughout all of this, I was just like, "I don't know if I can keep doing this anymore." Like,
mm-hmm,
keep showing up and be positive, and, when clients go through things, be there for them. Like, I can't tell you how many workouts I cried the entire workout while working out. I
mm,
can't tell you how many times I went to bed crying, woke up crying, just drudgery, is that a word? Misery, all of that. And you're
yeah.
like, double checking
I
the
don't know if that's a word, but slay, go for it.
dictionary.com.
Yeah.
But where was it going with this? But, it just has taught me, like, when I went through the hardest part of my, when I originally got sick, like, getting through that, I'm like, "You can get through this. Just
Mhm.
keep going at it one day at a time." And that's truly what I did.
Yeah. And I think it's really admirable because, again, like having to show up in your business when life is good is easy. It's so easy to make money and to serve your clients and do all these things when life is good. But that is just not the reality. It's not always going to be like that. And so showing up and doing what you were doing was the, one of the probably the hardest things that you did, but it was also something that kept you kept you taking care of you because you're like, I have to do this. Like I behind the scenes, maybe I'm falling apart, but I'm still going to show up in a way. And
Mhm.
sometimes I think when we're forced to do that, because right, if you had a 9 to 5, you would have been fucking forced to do it. You could have taken some probably vacation time, some sick time, but you would have been fucking forced to go, and that would have been a good thing because it forces you to have a routine, to get out of the house, to see people. With our business, we could hide a lot of the time and
Mhm.
not be forced to really work through things, right? You can put on a mask for a while, but I think you did really like a really good job with showing up and pushing yourself because like damn, there are like some days where it's like I do not want to fucking do this and you're like, well, I have to because like I can't sit in
Mhm.
this forever. Like this is
Yep.
temporary pain
Yep.
and you have moved through this. I mean like we've talked about this so much that it really feels like such a long experience, but it really hasn't been that long.
You mean like how long I've been going through it, or?
Yeah, yeah. Like
I mean,
I mean, it feels like it's been a while because
yeah, over a year.
what is month? It's March. There was a conversation last March.
Yeah, over a year.
Oh, no, I think it was in, oh yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Wow. And we were potting and then we stopped. And this was the first real sign of friendship.
Yep. Yep. It
Yeah.
was.
And I
That's
was sitting, I think that was the day that I looked fucking crazy on camera. I'm dead serious. I do. I was like, oh wow, I am like looking like a damn crazy person. And now I need to like pull it together and like be a
I mean,
supportive entity. You're like, bitch, you are fucked up. Why are you looking like that?
I was fucked up, you were fucked up. We were all levels of fucked up. But yeah, I didn't know where to go with that. There's so many different like avenues and different things, but
Yeah.
I just think it's like, you know, the hard times, like our mentor, mutual mentor, Lacey, like she's been through some hard shit.
Mm.
And it truly, like, I truly believe people that have who have not been through hard times, hard things, had to make tough decisions, had to learn how to show up for themselves because no one else could. Not saying that was exactly my point, my, thing, but
Yeah.
like if you haven't experienced that, it's navigating your first time is like you're hit by a truck.
Mm.
Like you're
Like
hit by
10 trucks.
like 15 trucks.
You're run over, you're like fighting for your fucking life, boom, boom, crawling, boom, and it just keeps coming.
Literally. And I think it gives you like an edge to be able to do that. And like, I just kept thinking, I'm like, you literally went through hell before. We can get through this again. It's literally not going to last forever. And back to like the Kabbalistic teachings that I really resonate with is like, when you're having these low lows, you're about to have the biggest high of your fucking life. Like, the
Mm.
light is coming out of there. Like,
Mm.
big darkness, a lot of darkness, the light is coming out of there. And literally, I kid you not, every day I was telling myself this, like every day. And I truly believe that. Like, I feel like I have I feel like I am slowly falling down, I'm noticing. But it's the way I'm sitting in the chair. I feel like Maddie pre-divorce, like let's say middle before all this stuff started happening, I feel
Mm.
completely different. And we've talked about this
Oh
before,
yeah.
how different I am now, but I feel very different in just the way I do everything now. And even the way I communicate with my sister, and me and her have always like I've been reactive to her for towards her for sure. And like I've noticed with my parents too. And I'm like, I'm really making efforts to not be that person anymore because I don't want to be
Mm.
that person. So
Hmm.
I think through these hard times, like if you're going through a hard time, like this is your greatest teacher. You're going to experience a lot of growth and a lot of light after this.
Yeah. And I think these types of situations have a way of, once you begin to move through it, they have a way of shining a light on the parts of you that maybe you don't love.
Hmm.
And you're forced to make a decision. And like, am I gonna continue with the way I have been acting and showing up and the reactivity? Or is this the point where I like make a change? Because everything else is changing. Am I going to
Hmm.
lean into that? And that's also really hard too, because you're going through a lot
Hmm.
and now you're putting yourself in this position where you're way more vulnerable and you're like, oh my God, I am looking at myself and I'm seeing the parts that I don't like. And now I have to kind of own that shit. And I already am not
Hmm.
vibing. Like it's a really uncomfortable thing. Like to look in the mirror and be like, ooh, there are some parts that I don't like as you're going
Yep.
through a huge transition. But no, you're a completely, do you have a different energy? Like once you cut that fucking hair, different energy.
I know.
You let, you know, they say on TikTok, that was the dumbest thing ever. I saw a TikTok and it was like hair holds memories.
Yeah, I 100% believe that was like not only great for my neckline and chin,
And like your
um,
fucking back, your neck, like that. You
I
have long ass hair.
I know. So great for that, of course. But just like I don't know, I'm holding a pen now. I don't know why I just picked it up. It's felt natural.
Sometimes it's just nice to just have a little fidgeter. Yep, I hear you. Pens
I,
everywhere. I have hair rollers everywhere. Don't ask me why. I just always
um, where was I
your
going with
hair,
that?
cutting your hair.
Oh, yeah. My one client was like, "I just love your hair so much." And like it and cutting my hair was also forcing myself to do my hair
Yep.
besides right now, it's Sunday, it's when we're recording, so no hate. Sunday is like I'm not wasting a hair wash day on that. But I where was I going with this? Oh, the new energy. Yeah, I even noticed in the way I am speaking, I mean, when I say I had contemplated the marriage ending for a long time. Like I did because I wanted to make the best decision as possible. I wanted to make sure like I really thought, I thought it through, I all those things, and, like, I was a very indecisive person for a long time. There's still areas in my life where I could be better, could be more decisive, and this truly has taught me be more decisive. And also coming out of it, I'm like, I don't want to keep like that wishy-washy, I don't know, like, is it the perfect thing? Like, there's no perfect anything, like perfect, job, perfect this, perfect that. It's like what you do with that and like how you show up for it. And I'm not going to look at that marriage as a mistake. I'm going to look at it as
Mm.
truly like my greatest fucking teacher for how many things that were not making sense that I was showing up as and that I was doing, and just ways that, like I said, I was showing up and doing, and things that I was willing to accept. And like I thought about changing my philosophy on children and like being a mom. Like, that's not me. That's
Yeah.
not me. And like I can't imagine if I was like, you know what, this is comfortable. Like, we have a house, he has a stable job, like I guess we could stay here. Like, I think if I wasn't as decisive with things that I truly know are not for me, I might have
Hmm.
caved, and I maybe have resented that. And who knows what we maybe would have divorced later down the road because it didn't make sense. Who knows? But I know
Yeah.
with even getting the haircut, like, I feel way more decisive and way more direct in the way that I am talking
Mm.
now with
Yeah.
just even women that like want to with me at coaching. I was just talking to a woman the other day who's on a GLP-1, and I asked her, like, can I be totally honest about your game plan you have right now? And she's like, yes, please. Like, I need all the honesty. Like, people crave that. And I'm just tired of
Yeah.
being like beat around the bush. Like, I think, love her to death, my mom has always been very like, well, it might hurt their feelings. Well, I'm like, if someone is saying like, yes, please tell me, I'm more than happy
You have
to,
the green light.
yeah, deliver it kindly, but
Yes.
why waste anyone's time with like, I mean, the nutrition world is full of fucking fake things. I'm
Mm.
I'm just like taking on this, like, I'm tired of bullshit, stupid, like, beat around the bush, take forever. Like, no, I this is the best option. This is the best method. X, Y, and Z. Not to like turn this into like health, but like I've noticed myself step into that energy more because I don't have the space or the desire to be someone that beats around the bush and can't make a decision. Like, I want to be a decisive person, so I'm showing up that way and approaching everything that way.
And it makes sense because you made one of the hardest decisions like in life that you can
Mhm,
make, right? There's
mhm,
probably five or six, right, of these like big, insane, hard decisions. And I would say ending a marriage is one of those, but where you caught yourself, and this is why having a support system is so, so crucial because if you were to compromise on what you want because of what somebody else wants, right? And it's not like, oh, let's go to this dinner spot or let's watch this movie. Having children is a big fucking thing. That is not
yeah,
moving somewhere. That's not buying a house. That's not whatever. Like having children is like that's a huge
life-changing.
other level. And if you don't want that, which you've expressed, to contemplate, well, should I just do this because maybe I'll be happy? Wouldn't have worked. It would not have worked. Maybe you could have done it for
No.
a while, but that's not that's not what you see for your life, and that's completely okay. Like I think as women we're also just conditioned to, even if you don't want children, there's this pressure in relationships to
Mhm,
have to fulfill that. And
mhm,
it's such a patriarchal thing. And even when you disclose that in a relationship, well, then it still comes back and it's like, wait, I thought we talked about this though. I thought we were on the same page. And
mhm,
it's a hard thing. And I can't imagine, like it would be like for me being like, oh, I'm okay with not having kids. I cannot have kids because you don't want kids. No, that would literally break my heart and rip my heart out of my
mhm,
body. So for you to say, you know what? I am actually going to listen to my body and I know this is not right for me. Um that changed you as a person to be more decisive and to be direct because you respected that coming your way and you want to
Hmm.
give it to other people. And I think that that's really an awesome thing because now you're not going through these experiences like being wishy-washy or questioning as much. Is this right?
Hmm.
Is this perfect? No, 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 no. Like a lot of what you do
Oh
is
my God.
reveling in that.
I mean, I'm the person that makes like an Excel spreadsheet to make a decision. Like in it and
What movie am I going to watch? Hold on, let me pull out the Excel
okay,
spreadsheet.
like when I was buying a new computer and then I
Yes.
ended up hating this computer. I know, I
No.
know, I know. It's fine. It gets the job done. It's good. It'll
You
last me
know,
like
it's
10 years.
fine.
Who cares? But I'm that, and I remember I was talking to my mentor, like just how I was feeling, and she was like, Maddie, I cannot make this decision for you. I'm like, can someone else like make a decision for me? I just like don't, you know what I mean? Like that's the energy I was leading with. And I'm like, we're done. Like that leaks so much. The
Mm,
contemplation, anything if you do that with anything, you do it with everything. It doesn't have to
yeah.
be about leaving a marriage. It could literally be about what to eat for lunch, you know? And
Yeah.
I just could not keep living that way. I could not. The person that is slow is not the person that runs a successful business. It's not the person that is taking their health to the next level. It's not the person that lives a fulfilling life. If you're stuck in the overthinking pattern and overanalyzation, like you're not happy. You're stuck. And I was
Mm,
like, I'm done being stuck with this.
yeah. Yeah. And and I think a lot of people are so scared of breaking out of that stuck
Mhm.
because you don't know what's on the other side.
Mhm.
And sometimes the other side is not good for a while, right? Like sometimes maybe it is horrible and that can be really devastating. But at the end of the day, like nobody can make the decisions for you. And if you're really not in a good position or you're unhappy, you feel unfulfilled, like with anything, you're the only one that can change it. Like nobody else can change it. Nobody's decision making, nobody changing how they help you show up. Like you can't do, you have to do it yourself. And that's like
Mhm.
kind of a scary part of like being an adult is like, oh, fuck, I am completely 100% control and responsible for my decision making.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to like accept that responsibility. It's like, oh fuck, if I make this decision, then like this is what I am doing. And
Yeah.
especially like when you kind of have to grow up quick as a child, you would think decision making comes a little bit easier, but it's still like it's hard because you're like, well, now I want somebody to make these decisions for me because I always had to make the decisions. And I'm like, it's too much. So I think you did a really you took your time. You didn't rush anything and you allowed yourself the space to I remember saying to you, I was like, imagine yourself having this conversation and like what is that going to be like? What does it feel like in your body? And then imagine not having this conversation and what does that feel like? And
Mhm.
taking it slow is probably like the best thing you could have done because you're not trying to like make decisions willy-nilly. Like this is a big life move.
Yeah, I mean it completely flipped my entire life. Like
Yeah.
everything, like the plans we had, like everything. And so, there's a point where it's like how many times do I need the answer shown in front of my face to I'm like
Mhm.
I have to do this compared
Yeah.
to like I'm just spending so much time in the gray, you know? And if I would have spent more time in the gray, would not have helped anyone. It would have hurt more feelings. It would have made it harder to leave. It would have, so much of it, like the hardest parts, thankfully, I made those decisions quickly.
Yeah.
Um, but like took the next step quickly, I would say. But I definitely
Mhm.
spent a lot of time contemplating and trying to map out like does this make sense, and then
Mm.
of course there's always going to be struggle with those decisions like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it truly, truly like flipped the switch on for decisive and direct Maddie.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't like. sometimes I think it is a good thing to be in that decision making process or the pre-contemplation,
Mhm.
contemplation, wherever we're at. It's better to
Premeditated.
it's better to be there a while because you can really figure out what is going to make sense for you. But the
Mhm.
dangerous part of that is staying there and never making a move because you have to decide either way in any decision. You have to decide definitively. If you don't make a decision and you just continue to be like stuck and feel stuck,
Mhm.
that almost feels worse because
Yeah.
you're like, well, now I'm like legit in limbo and I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? Because you haven't made a decision. And again, this like goes to anything, any big life thing. If you stay stuck in that, it doesn't help you. It harm, like you said, it kind of harms the situation because it's not gonna get any better or it's not gonna change
Mhm.
if you don't make that move. But again, that's also probably the like one of the hardest moves to make because when you bring up conversations and issues that are so vulnerable, it's like, oh fuck. Like you cannot close Pandora's box. It is open.
Yeah. Yeah. No, those and that's yeah, that was hard. And that's something that I have always struggled with is like being vulnerable. Maybe not to Allie, because like the amount of voice notes I sent this bitch, the amount of calls she's taken, the amount of any other way I could emote and emote it to her has been a
Sending letters, giving me telepathy. Yeah.
literally. I'm very good at being and I also think it might just be the people that I'm
Yeah.
good at doing it with because like it's always going to be easier to be vulnerable with someone I think that maybe you don't have a mixed baggage with like
Yeah. Yeah.
or some people you can feel that you can be very vulnerable with them compared to others.
Yes.
Allie I can be very vulnerable with my mom. It's been hard to be vulnerable with her because she just starts crying and like before me. I know that.
Yes.
And it's like I just need you to be a little bit stronger than me at this moment and I know it's not coming from a bad place, but like I just can't it's hard when it's your parents, because
Yes.
it hurts them too. So
Yes.
I've noticed with this and having those hard conversations, it's like I have needed to be work on my communication, thus becoming more direct, and also fostering because it's not just the person that you're talking to who can handle those type of conversations. It's also yourself being able to create the environment those conversations can be had.
Yeah, that's
And
so
I
true.
And I know I was not doing a great job of that because I was and again, not to knock off on my parents or anything, but like we struggled doing that growing up. There a lot of that wasn't shown.
Yep.
And I've talked to my dad about this and it's different now. Like I think as you get older, you notice the dynamic obviously change between your parents. And we've talked about it, like how that's been tough. That was tough growing up. It was very much of like, gotta be tough. My dad is tough on us. I gotta be tough. That has been like, that was my angry Maddie, like for a long time. It was like,
That's the chip on your shoulder.
uh-huh. It was like, I am very like tough exterior or I'm blowing up. I am like on the
That's
other
the
side.
only way you knew how to express the emotion because I can't show a vulnerability because that's not safe and that's not going to be
Mhm.
accepted.
So that is in that for sure as hell showed up in my relationship. That for sure as hell showed up in other areas, and it was really hard. Like it, and
Yeah.
that's why somatic therapy has been like the best fucking thing in my life. Not just talk therapy, somatic therapy,
Yeah.
because the number of years I did not feel anything in my body or majority of my life, besides
Yeah.
the last like year and a half, I would say.
Yeah.
So for me to express that to Allie, it was because you don't have that baggage I do with my family, of course.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so it's been easier, but then I noticed like, okay, I want to be able to do that in future relationships, in more like I'm working on making girlfriends right now and making more friends and all of that. And like I want to foster that with all relationships because I think that's a healthy thing to have. And I want that in
Yes.
my future relationship. So that's been one of the things I've noticed. Another dark, I don't want to say dark spot, but a spot that a spot. What's me without like a word? You
Fine.
know, you know,
It's you know what it
where my
it
charm,
brings the charm. Yeah.
literally. It's just what was it going to? Oh, it's just something that I saw through this.
Yeah.
I knew needed to be changed, and this was the push also to change it. So that's something I'm actively working on, and I work on with all of my current family relationships now too.
And I think it is really refreshing that you in this time you're able to relook at other relationships and be like, well, this is how I would like to show up differently. And even though this has been the dynamic for your whole life, I would still want to show up differently.
Hmm.
Um, because yeah, like there's like not a lot of vulnerability with a lot of family dynamics. And I think
Hmm.
that that was always really awkward and challenging for myself. And so I always find it so much easier to be vulnerable with friends because again, there's no
Hmm.
the it's clean. There's no
Hmm.
chalk on the chalkboard. We don't know nothing. It is clean and it is a
Hmm.
level of like you could spill your guts to a stranger because they don't really know anything.
Hmm.
And they might look at you like a crazy person, but you're like, it's fine. Well, you don't know. Like, yeah, you're looking at me like I'm crazy because you're a total
Yeah.
stranger. But with friends, it is so much easier. And I think going into future relationships, that is such a an incredible gift that you have now given yourself because you see these spots that weren't necessarily dark, but they were not shown. The light was not on them. You had to put light on them.
Hmm.
And it's something that James and I do really well in our relationship with because we used to be really, really bad at communicating. And I was a I was very volatile because I was like, I don't know how to fucking communicate this. I don't want to be vulnerable. I
Hmm.
feel
Icky. I always
I
felt
feel
icky.
icky and I feel like I'm going to be
Yeah.
abandoned. And when I feel like I'm going to be abandoned, I'm going to lose my shit because I have to make it known that like I cannot be abandoned.
Hmm.
So watching you go through this and I can like see like parallels of like, oh my God, I was so reactive too. I was crazy too. And then it forces us,
Hmm.
and we can have these conversations. Like I remember texting you and I was like, I wasn't as reactive as I wanted to be. And you're like, good job. And like we get to be supportive of each other in these journeys and I think that is such the amazing thing about friendship. Like if you don't have good girlfriends to go through really difficult times with, then like that's probably an aspect of life that you're missing.
100% agree. That's why I'm pursuing that now because I'm
Yes.
just like, I need, and like, I have good girlfriends.
Yeah.
None of them live here. So
Honestly, isn't that the thing? It's like so sad. Like
I know.
you're like, I just want to like I'm sitting on my couch. I just want to be like with these girls that like I have such a great rapport and relationship with, but why are we all over the goddamn place?
I know. I mean, I always want to say you're in Vermont. You're in New Hampshire. Um, Marcy is in right outside of San Francisco.
Yep.
Justine's in Austin, Texas. Like everyone's
Yep.
far away.
Yeah.
Like that I
You're like, I don't
talk
want to get on a
to.
plane.
Lacey's in Texas and
Yeah.
Timbuktu of Texas. Like I can't even get an Uber to her house. That's how back country she is.
Not the lack of an Uber. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
I
it's,
know.
but that's also such an incredible thing because like through this process, you might not have had all of these girlfriends surrounding you, but you have had much deeper relationships with people
Yes.
that it feels like they are there.
Yeah.
You can feel their energy. I mean,
Yeah.
what an awesome thing. I mean, like it's just really, and this is why it's also like you showed up for yourself in really hard times with your business, but that's
Mhm.
also how you met all of these people that were
Mhm.
there to support you and that didn't judge you and that were just like
Mhm.
fucking spew off what you need. Like this is your place where it's safe.
100%. And I also think it's good to have friends, again, being direct. Like,
Yes.
there are times recently I gave you a pep talk, and after you give me 1,101,000,000 pep talks, especially in the past year. But it's really good to have, friends that are supportive and want you to grow. Like I said to
Yeah.
Allie, I don't know how many months ago, I was like, I cannot start dating until I really feel confident and strong about my reactivity. That's no
Yeah.
longer a problem. You're like, I agree. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
totally.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. You
I
can't be a bad influence. If you want to be a good friend, you cannot be a bad
yes.
influence and be like, no, you're fine. You're not reactive. No, it's like, bitch, we need a dose of reality.
Yes, yes. And like, of course, and if you're on your own personal growth, it's always harder. There is this meme where it's like, I'm so healed. I've healed all my generational trauma. It's like one family dinner later. Like, nothing is healed. I'm back to square one. Like,
But actually,
I know. So I say that to say is that like if you're on personal growth journey, like old people, not old people, but people from your past, family,
mm,
environments, they will easily suck you back into your old patterns, and that's normal. That is normal, and
yup.
it's still progress if you fall back into them, and then you are aware of, oh damn, I went back there, and then pull yourself back. It still happens to me with my
Yeah.
sister where I find myself being snappy at her. And I'm like, hey, this isn't me. This is not the me I want to be. But,
Mhm.
and you'll notice, I've noticed, it's easier to be way less reactive to people you barely know. But
Oh,
people
yeah.
from your past, it's like ding, ding, ding,
Yeah.
reactivity.
Yeah, because you slip into like, especially like a family dynamic where it's just like you are so used to being this way and people expect you to be this way.
Mhm.
And when you're not and you have changed, then it's all of a sudden like you get pushback. You're like, what the fuck? Like, I am working on myself. I'm trying to change. I'm doing all these amazing things. And it's so
Mhm.
easy to slip back into that role. But you're so right. Like, even if you backslide, you have the opportunity still to move forward. And you
Yep.
also have the wherewithal to be like, oh shit. Like, I didn't like that. That did not feel safe. I'm going to be more aware of this. And next time, if this
Yep.
situation presents itself, I can have better tools and more
Mhm.
aware. And I think that's such an important thing too, because like healing, like your weight loss journey, like a fitness journey, it's not linear. Like you are going to have
No.
really high highs and also really low lows.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And I read it. I'm reading Rich as Fuck by Amanda Francis. She's great.
Love, love,
I would
love.
show you the cover, but I bet you it won't show. There you go.
I that is like it's honestly so iconic. I remember you like I think you had sent me the cover a while ago and it's been like a hyperfixation.
Read it. You should read it. It's
I
very, very
have.
good. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
oh.
Immediately I was like, do, 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 do.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Put it in my cart.
I know it's good. And do if you get it, like do the homework. It really makes you think. But I wish I would have saved where she said it. But like I was saying, become aware. Like notice yourself where you are like, oh, I did that, but notice without judgment. Because when you
Mhm.
start judging yourself for having the slip back, for maybe eating more than you wanted to, for not prioritizing getting your steps early in the day, for reacting in a way you didn't want to react, and yelling at someone when you didn't really need to yell at someone, like if you start judging it and putting a label of bad on it, it's very hard to move on from it. So, not
Mhm.
putting a label on it, saying, I'm aware. I can't tell you how many people, 99.9999% of the world population is walking around with zero awareness.
Oh yeah.
Zero.
Oh
And
yeah.
the fact that you are aware of what you're doing is not in step of who you want to be or how you want to show up, that's huge. That's
Mhm.
huge. And when we put a slap of a negative label on it, we are only making ourselves progress at a slower speed and
Yeah.
making ourselves bad.
You deter yourself from any sort of progress. And
Mhm.
I oftentimes and I'm sure there's a lot of the audience that will understand this. If I am overstimulated, I will fucking pop off. I'm the
Yep.
meanest version of myself,
Yep.
and I don't mean it. But that
Yep.
is not an excuse. That's on me to be like, I need to vocalize if I am very overstimulated. I need to walk away because it's
Yep.
not okay to make it everybody else's problem. But does that still happen sometimes? Do I like, am I the meanest person in the world to James or my sister? And I'm like, I am so sorry. You know what? Not fucking cool of me. I was overstimulated and I need to take a step back. And that's okay. You are allowed to vocalize what you need, but I try not to make it the worst thing ever. It's not great, but I'm like, you know what? It's fine. What can we learn from this? What can we do differently so that we don't make it a pattern? And we're all gonna, like,
Hmm.
everybody's gonna fuck up. Like, you're not gonna
Hmm.
go through life being perfect and doing everything the way that you want to do it. But if you just acknowledge it and you're like, ooh, that was not my best move. What can I do differently? And I've had to, like, I tell James, I tell my sister, I'm like, I don't mean it and I not cool, but like if I'm overstimulated, I'm gonna need to get the fuck out of a situation. And I'm probably gonna like seem a little off, but I'm gonna be like, you know what? I just need to get the fuck out of here, or you need to like
Hmm.
stop talking because I'm not I'm not doing well. And
Hmm.
when you are able to like be vulnerable, the right people accept it. And if they
Yeah.
don't accept it, that's not on you to make them accept it. Like you're trying, you're being vulnerable. Um, but yeah, making it bad only hurts you and it doesn't allow you to move forward because it's constantly like, oh, that's bad, that's bad. Well, I can't ever fucking do anything good. All I can do is bad. And it's like, well, no.
100%. You know how many times I say like your thoughts are everything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the science. Sorry, it's funny.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Always fucking laughing at me. I'm over here. I'm like passionate. I'm like, yes,
I
because
know.
we had literally had a conversation the other day. I'm like mid spiraling. You're like, you are pulling negative. And I was like, you are right. And I'm like, get into your positive, get into your powerful. And it's true.
Yep. I was gonna say that Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza, ugh, Dr. Joe Dispenza, there you go, does a ton of research about what we say to ourselves and
Mm,
how our thoughts can literally change our cells in our body and heal you from the inside out. Like there's a ton of research that shows that. And I'm a firm believer, firm believer. And so like me sitting here and saying, "Oh, you're a piece of shit, you're a bitch, you can't control your reactivity, you're never going to get past this." Well, then
you're
I
never
will
gonna
admit,
get fucking past it.
yes, and I refuse to be held back by those things. I have a memory of one time before I knew anything about nervous system, about being even like the idea of being overstimulated. Like it wasn't like part of my
Ah,
vocabulary yet. I remember it was like in high school, and I was working at a pierogi store. Kid you not, very nice family that owned it. The manager was not so nice. She was kind of I understand why she was not nice, but she was from another country, had a lot of things going on, so I don't blame her, but also like she needed to take it out on me. Anyhow, I'm like young, high school student working like a dog there, and you're talking to people all day, and I'm getting bossed around, barked orders at all day. I get home, I smell like freaking a grease pit, and my dad has had a good, not a good way, but had a proclivity for when he would
he can
talk.
sense somebody's in a bad mood.
Yes, but, like, also, it's, like, not so much of, like, talking, it's more, like, interrogating, so, like,
Ah,
it doesn't feel like it's a conversation coming from a good place, it feels from a conversation coming at, like, "You answer me," like, that's how.
mm-hmm.
And I was still very much of, like, this is a child-parent relationship at that time, I'm in
Yes.
high school.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, I just can't talk. I've been talking all day. I just can't." And looking back, I was overstimulated.
Uh,
My nervous system was shot. And I
yes.
remember he screamed at me, and I remember just going upstairs, slamming the door, and like just such a good example of like reactivity from both sides. Like we both didn't know. And, there were
Yeah.
times now where I see my dad get very reactive and I'm like, hey, 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 like, w- it- what's going on? Like, it's very simple things that just push people over the edge. Again, this is not
Yes.
to bash on him. People do this all the time. I was doing this a year and a half ago, most likely, and I probably still do it now with stupid things, with things that are minute. But
Yes. Yeah.
it's just not labeling ourselves as bad, allowing ourselves to see that, to be like almost like you're having like an out of body experience, and you're like,
Oh,
wow, I
don't.
have
Oh my God, that is the worst. You are
what
like,
what
I am looking at myself and that was a
yes,
lot.
yes, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, let's reverse, So
Yeah.
I think so I think, all of this to say, uh because there's 5 episodes in April, so we need to make sure we're good on time here. What?
I know.
What?
I thought you were gonna say there's 5 episodes in this.
Oh,
Because
I mean, honest,
it's been a journey, but it's a journey
it's a
that is
good episode.
necessary to go on.
Oh, yes, yeah, there's many episodes in this.
Mm.
Oh, well, I'll probably talk about it more in different things that come up, but
Minisodes.
minisodes, yes. But we're I don't know.
I just I don't we were talking about like reactivity
Yeah,
and parents and being overstimulated, and I think just like now we are so much more aware
yeah.
of what we need, and that allows us to like also enhance our decision making. And
Mhm,
as a kid, I was never in control of my emotions, and like it was
same.
not always like safe, and it was just a lot. And
Mhm,
being like in an adult and like being in an adult relationship, it's like, well, I cannot function like that. That cannot be something that is okay. That can't be the norm. And so probably in like 2019, like after I got diagnosed with agoraphobia, I was like, oh, this is either going to like make or break my relationship, because this is now something that like
mm,
makes me a completely different person, and I have to still be able to like be a a partner.
yeah.
And I was way more heightened, way more sensitive, like a fucking like I'm still like I am the jumpiest person ever. Like people get irritated because I'm always like I get the well, I'm here, right? The threshold is here. I am here. So like I have to work really hard on like just communicating what I need, because I get fucking set off so easily. And it doesn't come from a place of like I'm an asshole. But if I put
Mhm,
that label on myself, then like I'm gonna not think I'm like I don't like I'm gonna think that I don't deserve like quality relationships because like of the way that I react. Like I have to not make it
mhm,
bad, but I also have to be accountable and be like, okay, like if you sense you're not going to be in check of your emotions, you have to just excuse yourself, because
mhm,
like I don't, again, I don't have a lot of like earlier years of like emotions being okay.
mhm, same.
So like as an adult, you're like trying to navigate. You're like, oh my God, I'm like feeling these emotions for like the first time, and like what the hell? This is real. Why do I feel like a preteen? You're like, this is a lot.
And this is honestly why I firmly believe so many of us are sick in some capacity, because we've
Yeah.
never learned how to express, learned how to safely express our
Mm,
emotions, and then also voice that, how you're feeling and how that's what that feels like in your body. I mean, the amount of somatic sessions where I'm sitting there and they're like, "Where do you feel supported?" I'm like, uh I don't know. Like, and Lacey, "Where do you feel this in your body?" I was like, "I don't know." Like, I can't
yeah.
tell you how many times. And like one of our, I'd say, past somatic sessions in the past 5 months, 6 months, She was like, "That was the first time I truly got you in your body." And I was like,
Mm,
"Wow." Like, and we were already working together, like, on a deeper level for, like, a
yeah.
year. So, I mean, it takes time, and it's just I think it was, I heard this on, wow, Marcy and Lauren's podcast, the Real Wellness podcast, I think, or I can't remember the exact name, but Marcy was talking about when it comes to somatic things and nervous system tools like tapping, like all that kind of stuff. It takes like 3,000 repetitions before you're it.
Totally. Because
Literally, like
literally, because like, I'll do that shit. I'm like, this is not doing anything.
I
But I
know.
remind myself.
It takes many repetitions. And also, it is like for that kind of stuff to when by somatic tools, I mean like deep breathing, like tapping, like all that kind
Mhm.
of stuff. Like if you can't feel anything in your body, it's not going to help, right?
Yep.
It's like if you are to do great example. If you just start lifting and you only do like biceps and triceps and calves, right? You are
Yeah.
not going to get the same benefit as if you start squatting, if you do
Yeah.
push-ups, right? That those accessory movements, core and obliques, that stuff you add on once you're doing the big shit and you're consistent
Right.
at that.
Right. Right. Right.
Same thing with the somatic tools getting in your body. Once you can get comfortable expressing and start feeling little things over time, then like, adding those tools in slowly will make sense.
Mm.
Um, but I think it's, hard for a lot of people and why so many people are sick and between a limited mindset, between like heart disease, between, heart attacks, all these things, just being overweight. It's because what?
Not a heart attack.
Well, yeah, stress. Um,
I know, girl. It is like
Uh-uh.
the amount it is genuinely actually so sad. Like the amount of people that
Yeah,
are stuck
yeah,
and they don't tap into the ability to make these like big tough decisions, and then you literally see people die from stress,
yeah.
get injured in some capacities. Just like it is actually a really sad experience, and like how lucky are we to have pushed through that shit that you could easily push down and be like, I am okay with
Mhm.
living this satisfactory life. And I've said this to you a million times. I'm like, you're not fucking here to live a satisfactory life. Like, you do not actually want that. You do not
I
want that.
I know. Oh, I can only if I did not make the decision I made to leave that marriage, obviously,
Mhm.
like I wouldn't have done all this.
No, 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 no.
I I would have stayed like that. And I think it also would have kept me being sick too. Like there are so many ways like
No.
being sick where I was talking about with my health coach is like people are stuck to the diagnosis. They're a
Mm,
slave to the name of what's going on, to the things that they're experiencing. Like my knee issues right now, two meniscus injuries that but thankfully have improved so much. I could sit here and boohoo and be my knees are forever ruined.
mm,
They will probably be forever ruined if I keep that mindset up. And
yeah,
I think if I would have stayed, I would have just not gone through the hard seasons of growth. And
yeah.
I mean, every time something traumatic, like I was talking to Lindsay and she said to me like, would you do if you like when I got really really sick and like we've talked about this and I was experiencing suicidal ideation, like the hardest of the hards, lowest of the lows, she was like, would you have chosen not to go through that? And sometimes my answer pulls a little bit more one direction than the other, but I would say it's more heavy on the like, no, I think that truly like changed me for the better. And I learned how to show up for myself in ways where I didn't want to wake up the next day. And
Yeah,
a lot of people have never experienced something like that to that
yeah,
degree.
yeah,
And it's made me like a lot more stronger. And like sometimes I like forget, I'm like, damn, like I could have seriously not been here. Like
yeah,
it's an opportunity to like do something positive today.
yeah.
And I forget that sometimes. And and going through his
Because
knee
you're so
injuries.
far removed.
And going through his knee injuries, I'm like, damn, there was a time I could not walk. I
Yeah,
can walk. Like, be
Yeah.
freaking grateful. So, whatever it is, like, these things are going to shape you, change you, and you're going to grow so much through it and come
Mhm.
out better than you were before. But it might just like, I'm telling you, my 29th birthday, cried my eyes out. I literally was the worst day of my fucking life in a long time because my knees were way worse than they are right now. I had just started physical therapy. I'm still very, very upset about everything happening. I just literally was the worst day of my life. And we're over a month and a half now. And I'm like, I'm in so much better place.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't, and even when you go through things, you ha- you need time to potentially, this is not the right, appreciate or to look at it and learn something from it.
Hmm. Oh,
Right? You
yeah.
have to be so far removed because you have healed from being like physically sick. So you have this space to look at it with different eyes. And in 5 years from now, you're going to have the space to look at this chapter of your life with different eyes. But I think you've also done a really good job at just like at affirming your decision and affirming what you really want for your life. And because you do have that past experience of how sick you were, you have this ability to look at your decision making and be like, I went through hell. Like, I don't want to allow myself to settle with whatever that looks like, with being sick, with being in a certain type of relationship, or being in certain friendships, or living a certain way. Like, you have this ability to make decisions based on what you went through that really
Hmm.
changed your life. And I think it's not something that everybody gets to experience. And I say that because like you don't want people to go through really hard shit. Like nobody wants to see other
Hmm.
people really fucking suffer. Um but and not everybody will like have not everybody will be pushed to a place where you have been, where it actually allowed you to like have a different perspective on your life and how you really wanted to spend your life versus just kind of like coasting and settling. And
Hmm.
again, some people are okay with that, and that's fine. Like I'm not here to judge. Like I was probably like that before I like had like when Kate left to move to Thailand. That was like the traumatic spiral for me. That was like it almost, and this is a terrible thing to say because I don't like to put this into the universe, but it almost felt like she died and like a part of me died.
Mm.
And so like
Wow.
at this point in my life, I'm not like, oh, I grew from that because like I still live in like my woes of agoraphobia.
Hmm.
But I like look at you and I'm like, well, you know what? She survived and like looked at that and like you go through tough shit every day, but like you still show up. So I'm like, we can do hard things. And again, everybody's
Hmm.
heart is different, but I just think it's a benefit to be surrounding yourself with people that push themselves and that want the best out of you. Like, I want the best for you. I want you to fucking push yourself. I'm going to be a support system in that. And I know you want the same for me. And that's why having like these girlfriends, having relationships, being able to be in depth, us talking about this is so
Hmm.
important because otherwise, you just settle or you allow the bad shit to swallow you.
I'm telling you, and I'm gonna be totally honest because
We're here. What else
we're
are we
here.
doing?
We're here. I just looked at my mouth and my like mouth was totally slanted. I'm like, am I having a stroke? Like when I opened my mouth, I was like, that was a little concerning. It looked like Madison from Southern Charm because she has that because her
Mm.
dad has that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. The
Yeah.
Bell's palsy.
No, I think it's just they don't have Bell's
Oh,
palsy. It's
that just genetically.
yeah,
Yes.
genetically they have that. It's
Okay.
the charm of Southern Charm. But there were many, many a times, and I don't think I've ever told you this. but many a times where I was just like, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. Like, I can't be going through new health problems, be going through my relationship ending, me moving out, me losing my cat, right? I had to leave my cat with him, which very sad, but she loves him and that's great. So I'm happy they have each other. But that to having to show up on social media to doing this podcast that we make $0 from but absolutely love doing, I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing it. And I'm telling you, like, so
Yeah.
many times I thought that and I was like, I can't quit on Allie. Like, I literally, I don't want to cry, but like I literally would say like I cannot quit on Allie because like we have such a good friendship and we love doing this, like truly loved. I'm like, I can't quit on her. So so many
No, I
times. If we don't laugh, we cry.
we also laugh and cry. But no, and I think
Uh,
that's like such a like you could have so easily been like, this is too much. And I wouldn't ever fault you for that because like no one wants to be going through a divorce at 29. Like you have felt so vulnerable in that. But I think that's also fucking okay. And like if you were like, I can't do this, I would be like, that's fine. I get it. Like it's okay. No one's gonna be mad at you for that. Like I'm not gonna be mad at you for that. But you put so much pressure on yourself that like you wouldn't ever say that. And that's why I just want to be a space that's like you can be totally you and there's never going to be judgment. I'm never going to be mad at you. I'm never going to expect you to do this crazy shit because you were going through so much and you get to do that. You get to have a space where like you can fall apart and I'm not going to be like you should do better. I'm going to be like I hold that space here because you put so much on yourself that you are allowed to have a space where you can kind of fall apart. And that's okay. Like it might look ugly, but that's okay because that's what you need at this time. You need a space that's a little bit removed that you know you're not going to be judged. And I feel that same way. I'm like, sometimes I get really fucking crazy and I send a pop off voice note and I'm like, that was a lot. But I
it's
know
never a lot
that
though.
it feels safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
No, and I'm
man.
telling, I know, but there were, and that's why it's so important to have friends that you can talk to. And I mean, trust me, I was, and of course, while this is all happening, I was doing I was appearing on a ton of podcasts in like literally the background of my life on fire. And I'm like talking about, and I'm like, and I would text.
You were on your podcast world tour.
I was. I don't know where that era has ended. I was on a podcast world tour. Meanwhile, I'm like literally dissociating while like talking about health and fitness. And I was
Yeah.
just like, oh my, I don't know how and even here, like we would podcast and then I would cry. Like it was just like so fucking hard. I'm so glad the cat's out of the bag, so to speak. But honestly, having you, knowing how supportive you are, and just like I knew you would be okay if I said that, but I didn't want to let you down. And like honestly, I'm so fucking glad I didn't say that and I didn't let myself do that because it would have given me an out. And then I could have like I kept thinking in my head I kept thinking in my head like the divorce it makes sense why she quit. It made sense why she stopped coaching. It's so much went on. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
am I gonna let this be the thing that stops me from pursuing my passion? Like,
Mm-hmm.
am I
Mm-hmm.
gonna let this stop me from, oh, she was a great coach, but then she went through a divorce and you know how that goes. Like I was like, that's not gonna be me. I literally played that over in my head, like how I would feel like me shutting not posting anymore. I was like, oh, well, she went through a divorce. That makes sense. I'm like, it's not gonna fucking be me. I'm not gonna let Allie down. I'm not gonna quit my business. I'm not literally like you were the saving grace for a lot of it, especially for the podcast, of course. I really mean that. And like and that's why it's so important to have people around you that do that for you without,
Yeah.
you weren't saying like you better show up, like none
Yeah.
of that. It was like an unspoken thing that like I just kept pushing because of you. I was like, I gotta do it. We're showing up. We're not quitting.
Yeah. Wow. That like put me way into my feels.
Oh, I'm glad.
But I do think like that it is so powerful because, you know, there are so many times when you, the perspective, you can really feel alone and feel as if no one understands you. And even though I don't understand your experience and you don't always understand my experience, we can understand that things are heavy and that's why you need your people. And it gets to be safe. And for like you guys listening, like you might not have people that you feel you can be vulnerable with or they would understand, but I want you to like hear this and like know that like you are going to find those people. And like I hope just us having like this candid conversation also makes you feel seen and heard, just to know that like we are humans and we are going through things, and like we may not be going through the same things, but there is a collective experience of like people have everybody has a battle that they are fighting.
Hmm.
And you are choosing every day to wake up and show up and be this best version of yourself, because the alternative is, well, then you're also going through a divorce and then you aren't following your passions,
Hmm.
and you're this is gonna not sound this is not probably the best words, but like you're allowing yourself to stay stuck, because of course I would
Hmm.
understand if like you paused on everything that you could, right? Like the things that were extra that you didn't necessarily need to do, I would understand. But that is not the reason why you have made the decision that you made. You made it because you didn't, you knew that there was another level for you to go to.
Hmm.
Like the ceiling was not capped. You were like, I'm gonna
Yep.
punch the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
And you did that. Like, holy fuck. Like, I swear, like the energy, the confidence, the vibe, just like the way you present yourself is the most authentic version that I have known.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's funny because like I feel like I've always ran away from the authentic
Of
version,
course.
and then I felt like, what is authentic to me? Like I don't
Mm,
know what that is, but like truly at the end of the day, it's just like, I mean, being me is like authentic, but like
yeah.
being direct. Like I'm very driven. Like I love, I have like, I wouldn't say it's a bad habit. I don't think so. I love helping people in some capacity
Oh,
all
yeah.
all the time. Like I like sorry if you're a small business owner and you tell me, I'm like, oh, you should do this. Like I always do that.
Yeah.
Like when I went to pick up our fourth cow, like every time I see our farmer that we go to, I'm always like thinking of ideas what he could do. Like, and I'm like, you
Literally.
should every time because love the guy. They're such nice people, but like, I just love to help people like
Hmm.
pursue whatever they're doing, and I think that's just and being direct and looking like put together. Just I mean, not so much. I mean, I guess I'll put together right now, but
You're
looking.
fine.
My hair needs washed.
We're in our like AI offices. You're fine.
But like I just feel like I am so much more happier
Yeah.
being me. And like I've even had people recently, we're not going to get into like where, when, why, but tell me like I love your directness. And I'm
Yes.
like, thank you. Like I truly like love to do that and love that's just how it's like feels good in my body to be direct, and I'm not,
Mm,
and I think for a long time directness was so associated with bitchiness and was so
mm. Oh,
associated
yeah.
with bossiness, and for me it was not safe to be direct or give my opinion growing up.
Yep.
So that was a very hard thing for me to unlearn as an adult, is that I'm
Mm.
not going to get in trouble or get put in timeout, so to speak, for speaking my mind
Yeah.
on social media, or if I
Anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, or I mean, like, of course, I'm not gonna like go up to a stranger and be like, "That looks weird," like,
Well, that there's also a difference between being direct and being mean. Like being direct,
right,
and that's where I think that like internalized misogyny comes in. It's like, oh, being direct is being an asshole or being a bitch, but being
right,
direct is just being clear. And
yes,
it's a fantastic way to communicate because there are so many people that are so wishy-washy because they're afraid of hurting somebody's feelings and like
hmm
peace and love being direct is sometimes the best way to show somebody that you love them because you're being
hmm
honest and
hmm
you're gonna hurt people's feelings sometimes. It doesn't mean that you mean to, but like you can still be a kind person and be direct. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and so I feel like all of that has come out through this, and
Mm-hmm.
I truly grateful for that. Great friendships. I mean, our friendship has only gone up and up. Like we
It's
can't
on the up and up.
we can't get more connected. I think if like we're brothers, like from SpongeBob when he lifts his shirt, what I'm talking about?
So scary. Literally.
uh,
Yeah, no, it's a really it's a really weird thing sometimes how you go through something that is so intense and it's so like it feels surreal, right? Because like you don't maybe picture these things happening in your life, but then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, but I am okay. No, I did
mhm,
survive and I am
mhm,
surviving." And even if I'm crying through it, well, I'm still surviving and I'm still
mhm,
showing up for myself. And there's something just like so powerful about that and just something that like again you're going to look back in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, etc. and be just so genuinely in awe at yourself because you're like wow, like when you're like 65 years old you're going to be like wow, Maddie at 29 was a fucking badass and just like
yes.
did what she needed to do and like look at this incredible life I'm living and like it's oh man, that is crazy. I'm excited for 65-year-old Maddie, where
She's
she's
gonna
going to be
be
looking back on the amazing things that she has accomplished and what she is still going to do. Because, girls, just because you're 65 does not mean you're dead. We are here. We are on the up and up always.
100%. And I'll end it with this because this is
Yes.
now getting long. I was talking to my mom, and she was saying how she feels very displaced with her friends and like the weird one
Okay.
because she was telling them about our trip to New York City and how we walked a ton. They're like, Did you take breaks? That's so much walking." My mom was like, "What do
Well,
you mean?" And
how
he's like,
old is she, if you don't mind me
in her
asking?
oh, no, in her 50s, like, late 50s,
Oh, wow.
and her friends are around that age, and she goes, "I'm just so, like, annoyed and, like, disgusted, like, my friends just, like, call me weird and, because I'm the weird one because I work out and I'm
Yeah.
walking and I'm just like, I'm tired of being the weird one." I'll go, "Mom, of course you're weird because these people don't take care of their health.
Yeah.
Do you see me friends with people who don't take care of their health? Not because I'm better than them. It just doesn't
Doesn't
fit.
make
It
sense.
doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, I don't go to the bar and party. I would be weird to them, like they are
Yeah.
weird to me,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, where was I going with this? I don't know, but just to say, why did I bring this up?
I think because, well, we were talking about like getting older and
Oh,
yeah,
yes, and she said, like, another person in same age as her said, well, I'm just happy to be able to walk around the house and not have, be." And my mom goes, "Walk around the
you sound
house?"
like you're 80, 90.
Yes.
What in the
And
hell?
my mom was like, "I'm tired of feeling like our life is over." I go, "Great. Now go make some new fucking
Yeah,
friends who are healthy, explore, and you're
yeah.
not gonna feel like your life is over." So it's
Right.
just about who
Mm,
you're around. And again,
yes. Yes.
importance of making friends who push you, who believe in you, who answer your voice notes when you're crying and you can't even understand what they're saying, but tell you you can do it. That's what you need.
Literally could not be more true. You are only as old as the people that you surround yourself with. And
Yes.
my mom is, I think she just turned 57, maybe.
Mhm.
Not 58, I don't think. Um, could not imagine her having that type of conversation. This bitch is on the Peloton after like she just got a plate put in her arm because her physical therapist was like after like she recovered, she was like, yeah, like as long as like you're careful and you just like don't put too much weight on it, like for the first X amount of weeks, like if you want to ride the Peloton, go for it. Like she has always been that bitch that's like she's got her power walking. She used to be a marathon runner. Like if I could not imagine her saying, I'm just happy I can walk around the house. Like that
Right.
is so sad. And I think that just like speaks to the type of people we are. Like we value
Hmm.
taking care of ourselves and that's what we want for our clients. That's what we want for like every
Hmm.
woman we can possibly support
Hmm.
because our asses are going to be talking about this literally till we're blue in the face that like you get the most out of the life that you put in. And so with
100%.
any decision making, like it is all interconnected and it also depends on the people you surround yourself with. Um, but damn, that is literally I'm shook. That might be the whole
I know.
the shookiest thing that we have said that somebody is like grateful to be walking around their home at 60.
My
That
mom was like
that
flabbergasted. She was like, "What?" I go, "It's time we make some new friends, mom.
yes,
Like this
yes,
is this is your push. I'm making new friends. It's time for you to as well."
yes.
Um,
Period.
but hopefully you guys got something valuable out of this. If you feel like it's impossible to make progress to maintain your healthy routine, let me tell you, going through a more health scares, I would say, with more moving parts in my health, more unknowns, injuries, a divorce, moving, losing a cat. I'm not saying I did it all and you can do it too. I am saying like it's possible to
Yeah.
keep working through and keep doing these things when you get support, because I
Yep.
leveled up my support to make sure I could get through this, and I leaned on the people that I could lean on that could support me, and that's why it's just so important to build that support system around you so
Yep.
that you can get through it, because internalizing it is not the answer. It is not.
Nope. No, no. The internalizing it is only going to make it harder to deal with when it does come
Yeah.
out because it will. It
A
will
hun-
come out. Yes.
100%. And on that note, let's end it there. I think this was a great episode.
Slay.
Thank you guys so much for listening or watching Kind of Hot, Kind of Healthy. Please make sure to subscribe, give us a 5-star review, share this with your girlfriend who's going through a breakup, had a divorce, in a slump. There is something for everyone in this episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere where you can stream podcasts. If you have any question about life, friendships, or health in 1 or 2 cents, email us at kindahotpod@gmail.com. That's KINDAHOTPOD at gmail.com. Bye.
Bye.